Hey everybody, welcome on into ClayShare live at 5. I know it's been a minute since we were here. A lot going on this summer. Just got back from New York City, had an amazing trip. So much information, great food, great art. It was fabulous. I'm all energized and ready to share with you this fabulous tutorial on making textured trays. And this coincides with the release of our brand new ruffled rectangle rim templates. Oh my goodness. Guess what? GR Pottery Forms has stepped up and they have decided to join us in celebrating, and they're doing 20% off my 4 favorite rectangle GR Pottery Forms. And that is these 4 that we're going to use tonight. I'm going to make a tray with every one of these. So it's the 5x10, the 5x8, the 3.5 by 8.5, which also stacks on the 5x10. And you will have seen this in my fancy pedestal dish tutorial. We use these 2. And the fabulous 4x5 that you must have. This is an amazing one. This is the best, honestly, and I'll tell you why. So I'm going to make some pots. We're going to talk about trays. We're going to talk about the clay to use. We're going to talk about drying them, glazing them, everything. And it's going to be really fun. We're going to use some rolling pins. We're going to use some underglaze transfers because I got those over there. And I don't know what else we'll do. We'll have to just wait and see. So we are live here on ClayShare.com, on the ClayShare app, on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV. We're also live on the ClayShare Facebook page, my personal YouTube page, and all the folks over here on Instagram. Hi guys, we're live there too. So we are everywhere. You can't turn around without running into ClayShare on usually a Wednesday at 5, but today is Thursday because yesterday, stuff. That's all I'm saying. All right, so the other cool thing that we did this week is we released the cute sushi mini roller. I'm just going to give you like, you can see details if you go to ClayShare Market or you go to my social media, ClayShare social media. I have a couple of trays of these drying that are going in the kiln, and I'll have more glazed up with different glaze options, but yeah, as the name implies, cute sushi. I need to make a mug. So the reason I made this rolling pin is because I eat sushi at home, make sushi, and I wanted a sushi tray that had sushi on it. Works out. All right, you guys, let's make some pots. Let's make pottery. I saw a thing saying that today's like clay day, like National Clay Day. I didn't know that, but if it is, awesome for us, right? So I'm gonna adjust the camera for the Insta folks so they can see the table and everybody else. You wish you had some sushi to eat while watching. Wouldn't that be perfect? It'd be so good. I'm going to show you some glaze options just to give you an idea of what you can do with trays. Now, here's one I just did a demo with. Over on Speedball, they asked me last week to do a day of their social media. And this is this really fabulous, like impressionistic watercolor effect I did using the underglazes. And what really is wonderful about this glaze technique is the underglaze, when you apply it, you go kind of washy and loose and you really have fun with it. But it's the satin translucent glaze that I put on top that really makes it. I'm going to show you why. Here is the same technique done with a clear glaze, and although it looks nice with the clear glaze, do you see how the transitions are a little too harsh? Here's the clear glaze, here's the satin. Do you see how the transitions are a little too harsh with the clear glaze, whereas the satin, they just kind of softly flow? That's what we want when we're doing something like this. So check out that little tutorial I put up last Friday. If you want a full length on this, let me know and I will gladly do it. Yes, you can do it with clear glossy glaze, but a satin is much, much better. It's much better. So you can really hide that transition. This is speckled clay too, and that's what you're seeing, those little specks. I love them. You like a satin glaze. I love a satin glaze. I really do. Now, here's some little tray, options you can do. When you have textures, you can really play with them. This one I did the blue fish. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. No, they are all blue except the one rainbow fish that we have here, which was really fun to do. And you could make them all different colors. You can do whatever you want with them. Here's another idea where you just put some underglaze down to stain after you bisque fire, and then just use a couple celadons here. I used black underglaze, wiped it back, and then I put a buttercup yellow celadon here, and then lily of the valley green here. Isn't that beautiful? And then of course we must talk about this one. This is Honey Flux from Amico with Chun Plum and the Indigo Float. So these are some Amico glazes. It's a rainbow trout. Exactly. You got it. You got the joke. These also make amazing soap dishes when you do them like this. If you put holes in the bottom, and you could make little cuts so that any water could drain out. Little holiday-ish one. All right, so those there, but I want to make, and I have lots of things I want to teach you. So we got to get at it. We'll talk more about this later, but this is just one glaze, pearl white from Spectrum on this stargazing texture. Really, really fun to do. And then this one was a little more fiddly, we should say. I hand painted each element in this using Colors for Earth color concentrates. And then it's 2 glazes. It's that translucent satin, again, here. That satin really does a nice job of softening things, but it looks like it's leaves pressed in glass, doesn't it? So we have that in the center, but the edges are Georgie's Eggshell Wash. So this is Georgie's Eggshell Wash, but the center is Georgie's Translucent Satin. And that's who makes those glazes. And if I turn it in the light, you really are not getting that high gloss glare because it is a satin glaze. Now the thing you might want to think about with satin glazes is they tend to show knife marks and utensil marks more than a gloss glaze. So something like this you wouldn't want to make your dinnerware out of with that glaze and plan to cut steak on. Like, I would not recommend that. But for something like this is a holiday tray. We usually put this out with petit fours or other little treats on it at the holiday season. So that's not something that we're doing a lot of abrasion or really being rough with the surface. One more. Underglaze, transfer underglaze decal. So I made the little tray, and I actually applied the decal while it was still a flat slab. We did this together. Oh my gosh, I think this was last fall. So go check that out. It was with Sam Bow using their underglaze decals. And then I hand colored it using Colors for Earth color concentrates after it was bisque fired. And then I just did a clear glaze. And you can see, look, see that gloss we're getting? That's just that clear glaze on top. You could use a satin, but again, what will happen with the satin glaze, which sometimes it's not the glaze you want, it's gonna make it foggier. So if you want that crystal clear finish, you want this gloss glaze. If you want something a little subtler, softer, you go with like a satin. The satin is milky. And if you don't want milky surfaces, which can obstruct some of your texture and pattern, then don't use satin. So just a little bit about glazes while we were here. All right, I want to make some stuff. I got clay rolled out. I already rolled out a slab. I'm using Laguna B-Mix 5. I rolled out about 10 pounds of it on my slab roller to 3/8 of an inch thick. And we start with it pretty thick because we're going to thin it down. We're going to add texture to it. We're going to do stuff. So I want to make sure I have enough clay thickness to stretch it and do what I want with it. So we got our slab right here. And you can see I already made something. See that little cut? Something got made. It's for next week. You got to wait. Sorry. I'm already working on next week's stuff. That's how it goes. So when you roll your clay out on a slab roller, if you use canvas, you end up with canvas texture, which really isn't a problem. But I don't want the canvas texture to be my texture. So I just smooth it away. And this is also really good to do with your clay when you first roll out a slab. It helps align the particles. It helps prevent a bit of warping. And in my intro to hand building, we talk about that a little more in depth. So we're just going to smooth that out. And you will notice as I'm doing that, the clay does stretch, right? It moves. So we're thinning it there. So it's definitely not staying as thick as it was when I started. So we'll go ahead and smooth both sides because yes, there's canvas on both sides of the slab. That's how I roll, exactly, 3/8 of an inch. Pretty much for everything, I start at 3/8 of an inch and then I thin it down from there. You know, when I'm making really small things, I thin it down 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. When I'm doing big platters, I usually keep it about this thick. Sometimes we'll go thicker when we're making some really, really big pieces, but not often. Usually I keep it right about here. So there we have this beautiful fresh slab. B-Mix is a nice light colored stoneware clay. It does have kaolin in it, so it is porcelainous, which means it will have a tendency to dry a little faster and maybe warp a tiny bit, but because we went ahead and smoothed out our slab, we're already setting it up to not warp as much as it might. And we're gonna pick what we're gonna do first. I think we should go ahead and start with this 5x8. And here is the 5x8 rectangle. Now, if you don't have GR Pottery Forms, you can still use these. And I did a tutorial a few weeks ago where we did the fold-up side plates. Do you remember that? Well, that tutorial is perfect for this. So go watch that and follow all the instructions in there. But if you have the GR Pottery Forms, you should use them because you have them, right? So I'm just going to lay this on the clay. And I'm going to cut a piece off. Now I'm going to be making most of these without feet on them, but if you want to add feet to your pieces, you absolutely can. And we will do one with feet in a bit. So I'm just going to rough cut to get the approximate size. And then I have some smaller boards off to the side here. That one's not quite big enough. Let me get a bigger one. I was planning ahead. There we go. This one will work. And so we'll put our slab here and we'll move this board. So who's going to be with me in Wisconsin in a couple weeks? In 20 days, I will be in Waukesha, Wisconsin at the Fired Arts Expo. I'm teaching 6 classes. I believe 3 or 4 of them have already sold out. Maybe all but one have sold out. I'm not sure, but it's Fired Arts Expo. Search it up, can see what's happening. A whole bunch of fabulous ceramic artists are going to be there, and there's going to be classes and just fun and good times happening. I know Jeff from GR Pottery Forms is going to be there. Paula McCoy is going to be there from Colors for Earth. Debbie Delacruz from De La Design Gifts is going to be there. Michael Harbridge is going to be there. And Bob from Mako is going to be there. Alex from Alexandria Pottery Co. is going to be there. So, and Ceramipix is going to be there. So there's so many people. You notice how I just marked out the edge with my finger? I just want a guideline where the edge is going to be because I'm going to use, let's see, do I want to use the cute sushi? Yeah, I'm going to use the cute sushi mini roller. And this, because it's a mini, is not as tall as this. But I don't want to roll it across at an angle. I mean, if you want to, nobody's stopping you. But I want to do it straight across. So I'm going to mark it so I can start here and go to the end. And I think you'll be able to see this. I'll angle it that way. And it's kind of a guesstimation anyways. I'm just sort of going in that direction. And you'll see the clay is stretching again. So there they are. Look at those cute sushi. Oh my gosh, each one has a different face. I had so much fun drawing this one, and I have to tell you, I collabed with my daughter because, I'll show you over here. as I would draw one, I would be like, what do you think of this face? And she'd be like, oh, that one needs another eyelash, or those eyes are too high. So, you know, kids helping out. It turned out super cute. So you could leave it like this, but I got something. You know I got something. Sushi, right? When you're sushi, what do you think of for sushi? You think of Japan, because that's where sushi is from. But I have this really amazing wave rolling pin inspired by Hokusai's The Great Wave print. And I thought this is the perfect pairing. Now this is the 12-inch, but it does come in a 7-inch, which I think I would most likely use instead. But I'm gonna just line this up and just use the edge. I'm not gonna worry about being perfect. I'm just gonna roll it along. Look at that. Oh my goodness, it's perfect, it's perfect. All right, I'm gonna turn this over, turn it around, and I'm gonna do the other side. You ready? Every time I do this, I just get so excited about it. It's crazy good. Look at this. I gotta come over here. Look at it. It's so good. It's so good. I love it. So if you wanted to make bigger plates, you could certainly do that if you wanted the sushi strip in the middle, right? So don't think that you can't have texture. Now the other thing you can do, and I have a plate, I'll quickly show you, it's down here, that I did with the sushi. I rolled the sushi roller on it 3 times, in the center and then in the top and then in the bottom. So it's all sushi all the time, right? Here, sushi galore right here. So that's what I did on this one. But I love the trim with another pattern. It kind of creates a border, it gives a little more interest. And look at how much I stretched the clay. I stretched this clay so much that I could almost use the bigger one, but I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna stick with the 5x8, which works perfectly with this. Now, a lot of people ask me about getting these centered, and I'm gonna teach you a little trick. When you use a mini roller, it has a set dimension, right? So it has that set dimension, and here it is. Now, if I use these points right here as a guide on the ruffle rectangle, I can put them about in the center of that on this side. You see, just line it up there, and then about on the center of this one over here. And that means I have equal amount top and bottom. And that's it. Just line up these points. They are there to help you. Besides, they look really cool. So it's a design point, but it's also very helpful to have it there. So I'm just going to leave that, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut. So I'm just going to use a clay knife. You could also use a needle tool, and I'm just going to follow the template, and I'm just going to cut all the way around. No angle, just straight up and down. And I'm using a Dolan 220S clay knife. The S means straight handle, but you could use the 220C, which is the curved handle, or you could use any clay knife that you have. You don't have to have this one. So let's see how we did. Ooh, I would say we did pretty good. That looks nice, right? We got the top and bottom nice and even. Looks good. Looks good on my end. And I'm just going to take this sponge and then go ahead and just rub it on the edge. And I'm just going to take my finger and do that too. You can use a sheet of plastic, like dry cleaning plastic, if you want. Some folks like to do that. I think about it, but the thing is, I'd have to go grab it and then come back. I'd have this done already. Now, if I kept some over here, then, and I do sometimes do that, but not today. All right, so you know how we use the template to line up to cut our shape? Well, you can also, just by looking at the shape of the GR Pottery Form, we can look at it from the top and just looking straight down, just eyeballing it. You can measure with a ruler if you want to, just going side to side, get it lined up, and then turn it, and then you can adjust it. And if you want to, I mean, you could get down. You can get down here, And you can line it up here if you want to. I don't usually get that detailed with it. This is good enough. And then we flip it over, and I just flip it like that. And then I will grab the smaller board to work on. Then we're just going to fold the edges down. So this clay I rolled out about 30 minutes ago. And the B-mix depends. Sometimes it's drier, sometimes it's wetter. This batch of B-mix that I'm working with right now is a little bit drier than normal. And I don't know why that is. It used to be the B-mix was really wet. Now it's a little drier, but it still works great. So I'm just going to smooth this edge right here with the sponge. So I've done most of my cleanup work already, and then for the form, I want to have a nice fit to the form, so I'm just going to use this red rib and pull back towards the form. You can also just use the side of the rib and pull along. Do you see how I made the corner nice and sharp there? And that's it, you let it set. Depending how humid your studio is, you might need to let it set overnight, sometimes just a couple hours. Now, if this is gonna sit overnight, I'm gonna go ahead and cover it with plastic and let it set. But I'll be able to flip this out before we're done tonight because it is hot in the studio. So we're not gonna have to wait very long at all. All right, I'm gonna set this to the side and let's do another one quickly. So what shall we do? Do we want to do the big one? The big one we're going to use the underglaze transfer for. So yeah. Okay, we'll do that. So we'll do the big one next. And that's good because it takes a little longer for these larger ones to dry as they sit on the form. And I would like to get this so that we can flip them out before we're done tonight. Hopefully. I have an extra thing if we have time I would love to do, so we're going to see if I can get it done. If not, we'll save it for another day. All right, here's our clay slab, ready to go. And remember, we're going to do the 8 by 10, the 5 by 10, and I'm just going to line it up. I've got some excess clay down here, and that's fine. We'll save that for something else. Just using my finger to do my guidelines. And then I'm actually going to cut this bit off because this I can use for something else later. Same thing that we did already. I'm going to use the wildflower roller and I'm going to roll down the center. Now I do have the wildflower roller in a 7-inch, which normally, and that's what I did here, I would just roll this across the entire thing. So you can see this one's bisque fired, I have to glaze it, but it's the same texture that I used on that watercolor one. Let me grab it. It's the same as this one right here. It's the same texture. But I'm not going to use the 7-inch one. So the 7-inch one is going to give you bigger flowers because it's bigger. They scale up. As they get bigger, they get bigger, right? I mean, sort of makes sense. But the mini is tiny. And originally, that's all I did was the mini. And I decided to make bigger versions because so many people wanted them. And, you know, if you ask, I try to do it. That's sort of how it goes. So I'm going to roll this mini first. So we'll just roll this across the center. So there we have our beautiful texture. And you could just leave it here if you wanted to and not put an underglaze decal or transfer on. I'm going to remove some clay, but not too much. All right, so I have here, and I'll move the wet clay because as soon as anything wet touches your transfers, the transfers will start to transfer. And I don't want to transfer yet. So these are the summertime ones I got from Sambow. Monstera leaf. I love this. I think this would look spectacular with my Scandi bird design, but I don't think we're gonna use that tonight. I think we're gonna go with this cute little orange red flowers. And there's bees in here too. They also have this fun fruit one, which I think could be a great one as well. But I think I would do this by itself on something. So we'll see. I'll do something else with those. So we're gonna cut some of this off, and I'm gonna use my template here, and I'm gonna do a measure. We're measuring stuff, I know. I didn't tell you we would have to measure. We're just gonna guess then. We're not gonna do a full measure, but just a guess. I need about that much, right? I need about that much of my scissors. So if I put that here, that's gonna be about there. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut. And I'll need 2 strips this thickness. So we're just gonna cut that off. This is also a really nice way to conserve underglaze transfers because I know they're expensive and we don't want to waste them. So by combining them with a rolling pin, that when you buy a rolling pin, you buy it once, right? You get the texture forever. But sometimes you want to add a little something to it, you know, jazz it up a little bit. I get it. So with the underglaze transfers, you can totally do that. So that's going to work there. So let's go ahead. And if you wanted to use a ruler and a pencil and actually mark it properly, you do that. It would work great. I sometimes do that. It just depends when I'm working what I have. You know, a lot of times I just want to make. You know, I'm in the studio. I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to have to wait for things. So let's line this up right there. Just smooth that out. You notice I didn't cut it out yet. We're not cutting it out quite yet. I want to straighten this edge just a bit. So we have enough that it goes over the edge, and that's fine. I could have made it a little shorter if I wanted to. Now I have Sandbow's underglaze decals, but you can use anybody's. Ceramica Transfer, Plum Island transfers. There are so many Elan transfers out there. There's my line of underglaze decals, transfers, and decals, whichever way you want to call it. It's the same thing. You know, underglaze decals and underglaze transfers are the same thing. They go on under the glaze. So you can get mine from Sandbow, although I might have some interesting stuff to talk about in a couple months about underglaze transfers. All right, so we're just gonna let this sit, and you can see the color getting deeper as the moisture from the clay is saturating the underglaze transfer. So it's coming through. And you know, you can use your fingers to tap it. There's so many ways. I have to tell you, I see so many videos from people who are like, the best way. There's no best way. There's like 8 million ways to do it, whatever works. But I use a rib to smooth it out, and then I'm just gonna tap, 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 tap. You can pounce it with a damp sponge. Sometimes you have to be careful doing this because you can smear your underglaze decal and you don't mean to. You've been using my ruffled square template in the GR forms with the underglaze decals today, woohoo! So yes, these are the same ones that are available as a digital download. If you want to buy them as a digital download, you can buy the templates. You can have your own templates made somewhere. You can print them out with a Cricut if you want to. But we started a few months ago because you guys wanted them, and you know, I always want to make you guys happy. So we released the wooden templates as a product you can actually buy for those of you who don't have a way to make their own templates at home. So we're just going to let this sit, but let's check. Let's do a peek. I'm going to peek in here and see what we got going, because I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little. How's that? pretty good, pretty close. Maybe give it a minute more. It's going to be so cute. So Sandbow's underglaze decals match really well with Speedball's underglaze colors. So if you're looking for color matches, Speedball's red, their royal blue, their pine green, they match nicely with Sandbow. So I'm not saying other companies don't, I just haven't tried them together color matching wise, but I have with Speedball and I have with Sandbow. All right, let's see if we can peel it up now. Yeah, it looks pretty good. There's a few spots. I'm just gonna kind of give it a little pat as we peel it off. How will I glaze the center? I'm gonna do the center with a beautiful Celadon. I will probably go with Tiger Lily, which is an orange. And I think that would be really nice with this. Now, because we have this underglaze decal on, we're not going to be able to do a stain and wash back because we would smear the underglaze decal. Until this decal is completely glaze fired all the way through, it's still prone to smearing. So when this comes out of the bisque and I go to glaze it, I have to be careful not to rub on this underglaze decal area or else I will smear it. So I'm going to do, yeah, much better doing a little fresh pounce. See how much more vivid it is over here than back there. So I think I'll just do a quick like Celadon, one coat, clear on the edges. So I'll use just a zinc-free clear on the edges and do that Celadon. I'll show it to you. This, what do you think? This beautiful orange. But if you want to go brighter, okay, go yellow. Yellow might look even better in there. You want to go green? Maybe you want green in there. What else? I'm just showing you all the color options. The blue, I love blue, but I don't think it's right. I wouldn't choose the blue. Pink. There's no pink in there, but there's a lot of colors around pink, so I think you could use pink. For me, I'm thinking I'm going to go with the orange or the yellow. Although the green would be really nice too. It's hard to pass by on that green. It's so nice, but we'll see when it comes out of the bisque. Which actually, making this today, I think I'll be able to bisque them this weekend. Because I'll be flipping this out over tonight. I think I'll be able to do it this weekend. All right. Oh yeah, do you see how much better the top transferred than the bottom? You see on some of the flowers? And that's because I took a little extra time, did a little damp pouncing with the sponge. It really made a huge difference. Huge difference. So take that extra time and do your pouncing. Now, if we look at it, it's a little shiny because it's still wet. So I have a little trick to stop the shiny. And I have to go grab it, is you take cornstarch and you put cornstarch on the surface, and that will absorb all of the wetness that's there, and it will not at all hurt any of your beautiful underglaze decal. So I have just a little container of cornstarch that I use, that I keep in the studio, and then any brush will do, and it won't hurt anything at all. And you just pounce it on. Some people keep their cornstarch in a shaker, like a salt shaker, and you could just shake it on that way. Some people keep it in a nylon stocking or a sock, and they kind of pounce it on. I would just be careful to not have any of the color lift up and transfer when you do that, but that works too. So there's so many options. We don't have to worry at all about the cornstarch being a problem. It just burns out. It doesn't cause any issues at all. So now we've got it set. So it's like, ladies, if you put foundation on and then you use powder, loose powder to set your makeup, yeah, it's just like that. So now we do the same thing with our lining up. You know, we put the point about in the center here of this template. And then we take a look. Does that look pretty? It looks good to me. And then we go ahead and cut it out. Now, if you like to reclaim your clay and recycle it, remember this now has color on the clay. So you can do that, but there'll be a change. It won't be a pure white clay. So what can you do with it? Well, you could mix it back up and you can add it to clay that is dark and it won't make a difference at all, like a dark clay. Or you can just keep a bucket going of clay that is the mystery color clay, and you could get some interesting things. So look at that. Do you love that border? This would make a great little cheese plate. I know it doesn't have a handle on it, but who said it has to? But I just love the idea of it, right? So what we're not going to do is we're not going to go in and rub with a sponge, but I am going to take my finger and I'm just going to tap it along the edge to soften it. And the reason we're not taking our sponge and rubbing is because we would smear it. And this is where the plastic would be the champ, right? Because you could lay that down. But I think we did just fine. So this transfer came from Sambao Studios, and it's one of their summer releases that they did. And I really love it. And now I go back and forth with underglaze decals having color already added to it or just being black and white. Because if they're black and white, I have to add my own color, right? So I really have the ultimate control over the color that it ends up being, where if I purchase it colored already, somebody has determined the color for me, but that's sometimes kind of nice. And then I just match everything with it. All right, so we're good to go. We're going to flip this out, and I think this is the biggest thing we're going to make. So we're just going to put that on this board right here. And again, same thing. So when I'm not teaching and I'm just making these, it goes very fast, very, very fast. So we got that on there. I'll take my sponge, just smooth it up against the side. And since I'm not putting a foot on this, I don't have to worry about that. I can just smooth it out. We will make one with a foot in just a second. I think we'll do that one next. And then again, if you want the really sharp corners, pull back towards the form. Once this is leather hard, I can come back in with the sponge and really smooth things out and clean up my edges. Now I can take a damp finger to the back though, because there's no underglaze decal back here. So I can smooth that edge right now. So that one's done. So we can put that away. I'm going to tuck it. I'm going to tuck it somewhere. I'm going to tuck it over here. I'll put those down there. Okay, so let's do one with a foot and a pressed plate. So we'll do a big 1-2 going on here. So let me get some more clay. And this is from that 10 pounds I rolled out. So I'm going to show you in the set with the ruffled rectangles, there's 5. And you might think, what are you going to do with the mini? Well, the 4x5 rectangle one, the one that works with a 4x5, also works with the mini. I'm going to show you those quickly right now. They're very easy to work with. So you get 2 plates with 1 form, which I like. Anytime that I can double dip with my forms and stuff, I'm all in for that. Blossom in the Sky from Plum Island Transfer. Ooh, you know, there are so many great companies making underglaze decals, and I don't think anybody needs to be out there saying, well, I'll only buy so-and-so's, because, and I'm not saying anybody is, but there's so much. Why not buy everybody's? That's just like saying if you're going to go buy a new pair of pants or something, like you'll only buy pants from one company. No, 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 no. You buy them from whoever fits, right? And so you get a pair from here, a pair from there. It's the same thing with underglaze decals. If you see a design you like, you get it, right? We do that with glazes, don't we? So we should do it with everything. All right, so we smooth that out. What will we put on here for a texture? We're gonna do a little, I just did wildflower. What do you guys want? Anything particular you wanna see? How about a plant one? Because this would be a great soap dish. Oh, the hibiscus. No, we gotta do the hibiscus. We'll do the plant one for the press. This is gonna be this soap dish, so we're gonna do hibiscus. And this is the 7-inch. It's like a men's Hawaiian shirt, is how I describe that. And then we'll just cut it out. This one will go really fast because we're not doing anything to it. Hold on a sec. Other than rolling the texture in. And the texture goes so fast. You just roll it in, it's done. And you don't have to put texture on. I will show you a piece in a second that inspired this rim template and is where the shape came from that I made, we won't say how long ago. A long time. But I did Mishima on it, and it's really fabulous, so. All right, so this is the 4x5, and the great thing about these guys is we can use the tiniest of boards. You line it up, and you flip it over. And the same thing, you notice how they're really easy to make this shape because they're rectangles. There's nothing tricky about it at all. Straight sides are brilliant to work with. If you struggle with making pottery from slabs, straight sides are the way to go. All right, so say you want to put some feet on it. I'm gonna use my fancy, I say fancy, it's not really, my foot maker right here, and it's just a corn cob holder that I modified. And yes, there is a tutorial on making one of those, but if you don't want to make one, I believe Jeff sells them at GR Pottery, so you can go ahead and just grab one from Jeff. But if you want entertainment, you can go watch me use power tools and make one, which power tools, believe it or not, are my weakness. I am not awesome at power tools. Like, it's just not my thing. So I'm going to cut a couple strips. That might be enough to do the whole thing. Because this is a soap dish, so we have to think about some things, right? The soap dish, if you're going to put holes in the bottom of your soap dish, it's going to have to drain. So if you make a foot that is completely encasing the bottom, where's your water going to drain to? It's not. It's just going to sit there and puddle up and be nasty. And you'll come in one day and lift up your dish and all this really terrible soapy old water will run out. And you'll be like, oh no. And it will happen when you have a guest there, and it will be just so embarrassing. So I'm just going to tell you, we'll put little notches in our feet in just a second. I'll show you how. I'm always thinking of everybody. I'm planning for you. I only know this because this is exactly how my life would be, right? All right, so we slipped and scored. We made sure everything is seated. I'm going to go ahead and cut an angle on this. We'll slip and score there, slip and score there. We'll just stick that in. Now, you know what? These two would be enough. And if you just did that, you don't have to make the fancy notch. But I want to show you the fancy notch. You want to see the fancy notch, so we're doing it. Line that up. I'm so excited for primetime class coming up next at 6:15. We are making a moon phase wall hanging. Oh my gosh, I've been excited. This is one I had planned to do back in May, but life got too busy and we're doing it now, and I think it's perfect. You know, we had the eclipse back in April here, and Vermont had totality, not exactly where I am. I had near totality, and that really inspired me. And I was like, I need to get the moon phase wall hanging done. And we are, July. So, you know, not as fast as an eclipse, but faster than continental drift over here. All right, so we have this on, and it's good to go. Now, you can take any handle of a brush, and we're gonna make our little fancy notches. You could also use a wooden tool, you could use a dowel, whatever you have, but you just take that and you just roll it in, and then you just roll it in. And I will usually do 4 of them. But we're not disrupting the join at all. We're just making a little notch in the bottom so that when it sits flat, water can come out. Now, as far as putting the holes in, I will use a hole maker and I'll put 1, 2, 3 little holes right here in the bottom. I'll make little marks where they're gonna go. 1, 2, 3, right here. And when this is leather hard. So I'm gonna wait for this to get to leather hard, and then I will come back and I will go ahead and put those holes in. But we cannot do that now because everything is way too wet. It must sit. So we'll let it be, and we'll come back to it in a minute. All right, let me show you the super fastest way you can make a plate. So fast. You can make so many of these. You made your own foot maker after watching my tutorial. Did me using power tools scare you? I just have to ask. I finished it and I was like, oh my gosh. I feel like that went terrible. I mean, maybe not, but it felt not good. All right, so I'm gonna put a texture in because, oh, I need to do honeybee. Let's do the honeybee. So this is the bees and blossom. I don't know if I said I was gonna do a texture, but I'm doing this one. See how much it stretches? You get so much more once it stretches. So the mini that you get for free if you use the code MINI, and remember folks, don't panic. I'm gonna give you it no matter what, because that's the kind of person I am. I'm not gonna say, too bad, you didn't use the code. I'm gonna give everybody a mini. I'm just gonna do it. But I like people to use the code because that's what I want. It just means that anybody else filling orders other than me might be like, oh, that anybody else meaning Kevin, right? But I'm like, no, everybody gets it. So Kev, you heard me. Everybody gets the mini, the free mini. All right, straight up and down cut, just like we did before, just like we've been doing this whole time. And then the super awesome part is that 4x5 that we just used. I have a few of them, that's why I've got one right here. But the 4x5, you just line it up on here. And this is an old memory foam pillow that my mom gave me. Thanks, Mom. Every time I use it, I thank her. And I wonder what she thinks. She's like, I'm never giving you anything again. She says, you cut it up and take it to the studio. All right, ready? And then pop. That's it. Now, if you wanted to put feet on this, you could. But the great thing about a pressed plate when it's this small is it's done. It's done now. Look how sweet and cute that is. It's a cute little trinket dish. I love it. All right, we're gonna make one more. We have time to do one more. And that, we're gonna use that 3.5 by 8.5. And if you remember, I did a sgraffito class with this. We did cone flowers, a sgraffito cone flower class a couple summers ago. I want to say 3 summers ago we did it. So this one, are you guys sitting down? I hope everybody is sitting down because I'm going to say something. I'm not putting texture on. I'm not putting texture on. There's going to be no texture. I just heard a whole bunch of people fall over. Yeah, we're just going to smooth it out and make a plate. So you don't have to put texture on. I knew I would shock somebody. Do you know I started, all the texture I used was either stamps I made myself or I carved everything. I was a crazy carver. I still am. Sgraffito, Mishima, you name it, I'm carving it. And I still love to carve. And you're going to see a lot of me carving in August because Diamond Core Tools is joining us for the whole month as our sponsor. That means Nikolai is going to be here for all the Live at 5s, and he is going to be doing all of the demos. I'm really excited for that because he's an amazing carver too. And I know they got some new products. All right, now all this clay that I have here, I can wedge. You know what? We'll grab the colored stuff out though. The pretty pinky, orangey, yellow, we don't want that. So all this clay, I just wedge up to a ball. I dip it in my water bucket, my work water, and then I put it in a bag and it softens up and I can roll it out and use it or make stamps with it, whatever I want to do. So for this, since we're not going to add any texture, it's really easy. We just line up the form like we have been. And you know, with these points right here, they really help for the lining up. I'm just going to check it. And then I'm going to flip it over. And that's it. Let's put it on a bat. Fold the sides down. If your clay is really wet, it might just slump over it and you might not need to press it down. I told you mine was a little dry, so it needs a little pressing, but if you fold it and you're getting cracking here and here, that means your clay is way, way too dry. So you need to work with it sooner, or maybe if it's fresh out of the bag, talk to where you got it from because that should not be that dry coming straight out of a bag. So they might, I don't know, be storing it too long or not in great conditions. Just smooth this here. And that one is done. So we made, oh my gosh, we made so many today. I want to show you the piece that started it all. So this is a Mishima piece that I did. And this rim template, this is the ultimate of the rim template. The board in here that I used was a 1x6, so just a piece of wood that I bought at the local hardware store, and then I cut it to length. But it's very similar in size to the pieces like this from GR Pottery Forms, from this size, and then the little shorter one. So it gives the same look, but this is where it all started. And this is a stamp I made that I pressed into the rim. I used chartreuse underglaze from Amico, and then the underglazes here are Amico's, but you'll see it's all the satin glaze. So it's actually EM satin, which is one you can mix up yourself and dip and pour or brush on. I do brush it on, and that recipe is on ClayShareResources.com. So if you go there, you can get this recipe. It's free. It's not my glaze. It's EM satin. That's the glaze name. You can mix it up and make it yourself. It's a cone 5, cone 6 glaze. Really beautiful satin transparent glaze. So if you want to make your own, or you already do make your own glazes, this is an easy one. It's really easy. So you can try it. Plus, of course, food safe, right? Because I'm not going to recommend anything that's not food safe, right? The whole crowd went quiet. No texture! Oh, panic! Panic time, panic. Okay, so I want to share with you my drawing secrets, which is really not a secret because I tell you all the time what I do. And it's very, very easy. I save old clothes. This is an old shirt sleeve. I cut the shirt sleeve off. I tie a knot in one end, a knot in the other, and I fill it. Well, I tie a knot in one end. I filled it with clean kitty litter, not the scoopable kind, just regular, and then not the other end. So this is a no-sew. Sometimes the kitty litter does come out. So if you put this directly on your clay, you have just now made a speckled clay. Just to warn you ahead of time. Because if you're doing a porcelain, you might not want that. But if you want that, guess what? You could use it. So you can see it right here on this tray. There's some little speckles. Now, when I make the tray, it has to dry. when I flip it over, it's still a little too soft to do anything with it. So we let it set another hour, and then I will put weight bags in it when it's a nice leather hard. And I put the weight bags in until they're completely bone dry, ready to go in the kiln for their bisque fire. I don't ever take them off sooner, because as long as there's moisture in there, these things are gonna try and bow on you. So let me grab that one we made a little while ago, and I'll flip it over and we'll see. I have another board. No, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna do it the dangerous way, where I actually pull the whole thing off and flip it out. So this one is way wet. It's almost too wet to be doing what I'm doing, but because it doesn't have a foot, we don't have to worry about it slumping. Plus, with it being a little soft, I can add anything I want to the rim, meaning, oh, do you want a ruffled rim? Maybe you do. Let me show you. So you just lightly press in a tiny bit. Look at the difference in the two sides. This side here has been ruffled. This side, it is ruffled already for you, but this is even more. Let me if I show you that way. Yeah, see the difference? This is all the same at the same height, which is fine. It's beautiful that way. You don't have to change it. But look, bam. What? Beautiful scalloped edges. Nice, sweet ruffle, boom, scalloped edge. And it's like guidelines. They're already there for you. You just go ahead and just gently press up just in that center area. That's it. Now, ready? Boom. Both sides, done. That's it, easy. You don't have to do that. That's why I did the ruffled edge, so it's already done for you. But if you want to go a little more, you can go a little more, and you can have that. So there's the sushi with the wave. I love it. Turned out really, really cute. So, all right. Drying when this is leather hard, not yet. So it's going to be another hour or so before I'm done working tonight. By the end of the day, here's the thing. If I don't want any of the cat litter to get embedded in it, and of course you could use rice, you can use other materials, I will put a sheet of plastic down first, then put my weight bag in. And I'll put my weight bag in so that, we'll pretend this is the one, so that it covers all the surface. And this is why I love the cat litter bag. Do you see how I can stretch it? I can mound it up. I can squish it if I wanted to. If this was a more rounded form or something, I can really change the shape of this bag. So this one right here was a sleeve. This actually was the front of a shirt. So you cut the sleeves off. This is the front of a shirt cut into a square. And then I grabbed the four corners, the rubber bands that come on our bags of clay. I just pulled all the four corners together. You pour a little cat litter in the center, and then you use the rubber band to secure it. And you just made no-sew weight bags. Like that's the way to go for me. I'm not sewing. I sewed an apron once. You notice I don't ever wear it? There's a reason. So did I talk about the sushi plate, what underglaze I use? Yeah, so on this I used a combination of speedball underglaze colors for all the color and the black, but the white is colors for earth. I used her Glacier white on that, so you can see. Now this one's a little different because this was the prototype roller for the cute sushi, so the faces are slightly different because I made every face different. This one, the faces are all the same. If you look at this one, hold on. The faces on this one, every face is different. So this one's got little like bashful eyes. This one's got laughing eyes. This one's just got regular round eyes. This one's got little lashes, 2 lashes on that one. This has got a single lash on this one. This one has smiley eyes right here. So each one has a different eye, so they have their own personality. When I made this one and I showed my daughter, she was like, they're cute, but they all have the same eyes. And that was our big discussion and why I changed it so that everybody has different eyes. That's the only difference. The sushis are the same. The way I drew them is the same. The only difference being is I made each one have their own personality, which definitely makes it better. Yeah, I will do a glazing a sushi tray tutorial for you guys. So, all right, let's see. Any other questions? The sushi you eat, does it have faces? No, because if there was faces on sushi, I would not be eating it. That would be disturbing for me. So my plates can have faces because that's cute. Besides, I could just have done the sushi without faces, but that's not as cute, right? So you don't weigh your tiles you made and they bowed. Oh no, yes, yeah. So the weighing makes a huge difference. So put your weight bag on and you'll be good to go. So once these are dry, you bisque fire them, whatever temperature you normally bisque fire to. I bisque fire to 05. I then glaze and then I fire it to cone 5. You glaze and fire to whatever you fire to. So there we have it. We made some fabulous textured trays. We used those 4 amazing GR Pottery Forms. They are 20% off. Just my 4 faves are 20% off. You don't have to use a code. Jeff just made it that way for everybody. So everyone gets to jump in the pool. Everybody's in the party, right? Nobody's being left out at all, which is what we wanted. So you can get those. I do think the 4x5 is like this is the best. And I'll tell you, I plan to do a demo where we line 2 of them up, because if you use 2 of them, you can use the 5x8 rim template with 2 of them and have a little divided dish. And I did a divided dish tutorial a couple years ago. And we have some full-length classes making divided dishes. So if that sounds like something you might want to do, go check those out. But look, 2 of these will line up here. 2 4x5s will line up. So you'll be able to make divided dishes. And if you go even bigger, you know, you can do so many things. And we did classes on these. I also did like a cafeteria lunch tray. There was a whole session of classes. I went through this period where I just wanted everything compartmentalized. All the dishes had little serving like sections. You know, we all do that. Okay, so that's what we have this week. Check out the new cute sushi roller and the rectangle rim templates, the ruffled rectangles, and those 4 forms from GR Pottery Forms. Do you guys want to see what we're doing next in prime time? So this is the moon phase wall hanging. And I can't wait. This is so 70s inspired. This is a moment where I wish I knew how to macrame, because when I was hanging this, I did use copper wire, and I love it with the copper wire, but if I could macrame, it would have been perfect, best thing ever. But I cannot macrame. Who's going to teach a macrame class so I can learn? You're gonna? Yes, let's do that. That sounds good to me. All right, so we're gonna make this next. I'm gonna walk you through all the steps, and we're gonna glaze it too. So it's gonna be a full start to finish next. Coming up in prime time, and that class is only for my premium members. So if you're not a member yet, you can go sign up and get that class. We have a 7-day free trial. What? I know. And with that, you get access to hundreds of full-length classes, thousands of videos. Just this month alone, I have recorded just full-length recorded classes. We did 8, but then we've had multiple live broadcasts. So we're going to top out for July being the 2nd most recorded classes we've done this year, next to ClayShare Con back in February, which we had, I don't know, 30-something broadcasts. It was crazy. So many things. But anyhow, that's what I have for you tonight. I'm going to clean everything up and get ready for the next class. So premium members, I'll see you in a few minutes. Everybody else, I will catch you next week when we have Debbie from De La Design Gifts joining us, because it's Christmas in July. That's right. So be ready. Come with a cup of cocoa and your Christmas ugly sweater, because we're going to have so much fun gearing up and getting ready for the holidays next week. I'll see y'all.